Hey, what is up guys, MKBHD here, fresh back from WWDC, and we got a whole bunch of different Apple announcements as we usually do, but I think the biggest of those was definitely iOS 12. Now on this channel, you probably already know I usually do a top new features of Android video when that comes out. What better time to start doing an iOS version of that than when we got a bunch of great new features. So this is the top 5 new features in iOS 12 on the iPhone. So as you probably got the idea from the last video, this wasn't like a big design overhaul or a refresh like that. It really is just a bunch of added new features that people have been looking forward to for a long time. So number 1 is grouped notifications. Finally, as an Android user, finally. I think this got the loudest cheer on stage when it got announced, but ever since it was shown on stage, I've been kind of curious exactly how it works. To get it in my hands and actually try it is one thing versus just seeing it on stage. So it's actually the real deal. So as you expect, all your notifications from one app get grouped together. It can look pretty neat and organized in this sort of a stack way. And then you can tap to expand and view all of them. And then you can act on each one of them one by one if you want. And when you're done, either at the top or the bottom of the list, you can collapse them back into that little stack. So it is immensely better than before. It still is a little bit buggy, and sometimes in iMessage it wouldn't group notifications, but generally it's been working pretty well. And I still would also like to see in iOS the ability to act on notifications while they're in the notification tray without leaving them. So I do this on Android all the time, but that's probably a couple years down the road. Either way, group notifications, welcome to 2018 iOS, that's good to see. So number 2 is Animoji. It's somehow one of the biggest headlining features of the iPhone 10, and as far as I know, it's still just for iPhone 10, but Animoji has had a lot added to it. There's now new Animoji, there's a koala, there's a tiger, there's a T-Rex, and there's a ghost. And also there's tongues for all of them. There's tongue detection, kind of like Snapchat has had for a while, including the skull. Everyone gets a tongue, so cool. And then there's Memoji, which will let you create any number of your own Animoji to look exactly the way you want. So this is my Memoji. They don't exactly have my hair or facial hair style, so like this is as close as I could get. But your Memoji doesn't have to look like you. It can look like a totally different person or a new character if you want. And as far as I can tell, there's no limit to how many you can make. But I'll link a video below of customizing it. You can go into infinite detail of things like eyebrow shape and makeup type and hairstyle and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty detailed. I also think the eye movement detection is more impressive than the tongue. The tongue is just either in or out of your mouth. That's cool, but the eyes are what really gives it life. The other Animojis before were just beaded. This is pretty good. They work in FaceTime now. They also bumped the limit up to how much video you can do with an Animoji in iMessage to 30 seconds. And as you can see, you can also superimpose them on your own body. So if you're into that, then that's a thing you can do. All right, so number 3 is something called screen time. And I saw something similar to this at Google I/O, where it's just basically directly addressing how you use your phone, how much you use your phone, and possibly whether or not you're addicted to it and cutting down that addiction. Now to be fair, on the same stage, like 25 minutes later, they had a lady on an exercise bike trying to text her friends while multitasking on her smartwatch. So that message may have been lost a little bit during the keynote, but that's kind of what they were going for. But it's actually really interesting. It shows you what you've used most on your phone in the last couple hours the screen has been on, and then it lets you set limits for certain apps. So if you wanna make sure you only spend 1 hour on Instagram, you can tell it to do that. And then when you try to open the app after that hour is up, it looks like this. It doesn't let you in unless you click the button that lets you in. But still, you get the point. It also shows you a really detailed breakdown of your most used apps, how many times you pick up the phone during the day, the average per hour, and which apps send you the most notifications during the course of a day, how many times you pick up your phone. It really is a wealth of information, so you can do with it what you want. So number 4 is Siri shortcuts. Now to be honest, I was looking forward to some bigger improvements with Siri, mainly making it not bad, but this is something interesting. Essentially, it'll allow you to map any in-app action or any command to any phrase you want. Literally any phrase you want. Now it's still pretty early for the iOS 12 beta, so they don't have the actual shortcuts app here yet, which will allow you to build as many of these as you want. But if you go in the settings for Siri, there's a couple that are built in that kind of demonstrate how this works. So there's this custom shortcut to check the Apple stock price in the Stocks app. So that's a 2-level connection. Literally, it asks you to record any phrase you want to trigger this. So I chose show me the money. So now every time I ask Siri to show me the money, it opens the stock app and checks Apple's stock price. So you could see how this would extend out to other apps and other commands with other phrases. Not bad. Now just fix the rest of Siri, please. And then number 5 is all the new apps. And I know I mentioned earlier in this video that there's not that many visual changes with iOS 12. I guess that's kind of a lie because in a lot of the stock apps now, they're overhauled. They look drastically different, and there's actually one new app. So the iBooks app is now Apple Books and is sporting a new design. Not the super modern look of a lot of the other things, but that's because it's books. It's supposed to be minimally distracting. The News app is redesigned, this one with a more modern UI, and the Stocks app is redesigned with this slick user interface with Apple curated news alongside the companies in the stocks. Voice Memos also got an update, a new logo as well, but it's like the simplest app ever, but there you go. And then of course there's actually the new app in iOS 12, possibly my favorite edition, which is called the Measure app. And this is an ARKit 2.0 app, so it's an augmented reality app that lets you literally look through the camera, point it at objects, and measure them. Measure how long or how tall or how much volume they have, and it's actually pretty quality. The only limitation seems to be that it's definitely better with smaller objects and with things that are closer to you, but I've tried it on a number of things around the studio at this point, and it's definitely accurate. But there you have it. There's some good stuff in iOS 12 this time around. And there's also some nuggets I didn't even mention in this video. One of them is group FaceTime. You can do a FaceTime group call with up to 32 people. I couldn't demo it because I don't know that many people with iOS 12, and if you do this with someone on iOS 11, it kicks them out of the FaceTime call, but you can do that in iOS 12, massive FaceTime calls. The improvement to search in Photos is much more robust to the point where they've put a search button right there on the bottom of the app, encouraging you to use it. It reminds me actually a lot more of Google Photos now. You can swipe up in iPhone 10 to kill apps right away. You don't have to hold down and wait for the little red minus sign to pop up anymore. That's massively more convenient. I think they heard our feedback on that one. And it's also now harder to take accidental screenshots. It's true, so if you wake up your iPhone with the power button and the volume button at the same time, that would usually accidentally take a screenshot of your lock screen. Not anymore. So that's pretty awesome. Thank you, Apple. So that's iOS 12, that's where we're at right now. It will continue to evolve. It's in a public beta form right now, so there will be additional beta builds that will come out, and I'm sure there will be more features that surface, so stay tuned on Twitter to know about those when they come out. And I'll also, for good measure, I'll link the wallpaper, the new iOS 12 wallpaper in the description below, because I know someone's gonna ask about that. But either way, that's been it. Till next time, thanks for watching. Talk to you in the next one. Peace.